afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Mr. Saub, are you here from the Cox firm?
I am.
All right, then we'll get right to it. Ms. Hooley is here. This is file number 25-196LT. It's entitled Riverside Townhouses versus Heather Hooley. It was filed as a non-payment of rent. When we were last here, Attorney Haddad was here from the Cox firm. And we determined that her rent, at least at that time through February, was $898, $895 in costs. She was gonna pay some and try to get caught up. So it's Ramsey Sobe.
Hamzi Sob.
What's your P number?
Your Honor, Miss Hooley did make a payment, I believe, yesterday. She paid $500 via money order, but her entire balance wasn't paid off. I think the total amount owing as of today, which includes his March rent, is $1,286.22. And then with court costs of $185, the total would be $1,471.22.
Ms. Hooley, what's your response to that?
Your Honor, the eviction papers, the lease that's attached to the eviction papers are stating I owe $764 a month, and the ledger is stating that I'm paying more than $764 a month.
Well, let's take a look. The lease
is actually
says $764. So last month we calculated that your rent would be $1,766.22. You paid $500. So that's $1,286. There's a $20 late fee in there. So that reflects what we had yesterday. Or last week, what is the monthly rent?
The ledger balance that shows is I've been paying $868 a month, but the lease agreement is stating $764 per month.
Mr. Sub, what can you tell us?
The monthly rent is $868.
I don't recall signing any amendment. So
that lease was from January 22 to January of 23. We're now in March of 24. Ms. Kalmbach was here last time. She's not with us today, or at least not here yet.
And I do have a ledger balance of everything that I've paid since 9/30 of 2023. I have nothing prior to showing anything prior to that, but I was never paying this much. So that's all. I just don't know.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Hicks? I can't hear you.
I am.
All right. I'm sorry. We've got a tragic situation you're going to tell me about in a minute. But while we're waiting for a moment for this apartment manager to show up, I'm going to tell you some things you need to. The pleadings by the plaintiff indicate that rent is $868 per month, and we calculated everything based on $868 per month. The defendant contends her rent is only $764 per month per the lease. I don't have anything other than that to show what the rent is. Plaintiff, I guess, contends maybe there have been some addendums to that lease. And let's take a look here.
Your Honor, if there were rental increases that would have been made within the past 4 years that I believe Ms. Hooley has been living there, there would be 60-day notices given, which doesn't require her signature on changing the terms of the lease, especially with rental payments.
Well, I'm assuming that that's the case, but there's no evidence in the file to reflect that. The lease
I agree, Your Honor.
showed,
But for the sake of saving us all arguments here, the last time there was a zero balance on this was back in let's see, January. So, Your Honor, I would be willing to reduce the rent by $101 or $2 every month since January to reflect accurate rental payments of the seven.
all right, that would be $306.
Your Honor,
Yes?
I've been paying $800 since 10/1 of 2023. And this lease says $764.
Which indicates to me you got some sort of an addendum, because you wouldn't just automatically start paying more than the amount on the lease. So I suspect it went up again in October of 24. So you didn't just unilaterally start deciding to pay $800 a month. You were paying $800 a month because of what the raise was. But nonetheless, he's willing to reduce this by $303. What's your response to that?
I wanted to bring up to you about something here in April 1st of 2024. I'm just wondering what this means. It says rent adjusted ADJIC 4/1 of 2024 to 4/30 of 2024. It looks like the government paid $527. It's in parentheses. And then they charged me $834 the same month. So they charged me $1,300 that
All right,
month.
well, let me stop this. I set this matter for a 5-minute hearing because last week you told me you were going to get a tax refund and you were going to pay anything off, and there was no conflict as to the amount due. So all of a sudden you've raised all these other issues, and I'm going to back up the others. So you just wait for a minute and we'll take care of this other matter. I'd like to free up Mr. Hicks.
Okay.
Ms. Sprague, could you join us? Let's return to Riverside versus Foley. Ms. Kalmbach is here with us now. Maybe she can shed some light on this. Excuse me for a moment.
Lori, just
a
to
minute.
catch
Just
you
a
up on
minute.
a few things.
Just a minute. All right, let me tell her what the deal is. We return to 25196 Riverside versus Foley. We were here last week and we had determined the amount. It did not seem to be in controversy. The defendant was going to get a tax return and pay it. We determined that rent was through March was $898, $185 in costs. The defendant made a $500 payment. So today, for the first time, she raises the issue that she thought lease says her rent is $764, which is the last signed lease, which is part of the file. Mr. Saab says rent is now $868. But there's nothing in the file to reflect that. So he was willing to reduce the arrearage just to move the matter along. but that wasn't satisfactory to Ms. Hooley either. She raised some other issues that says she was been paying $800 a month since last October. So, Ms. Kalmbach, do you have records to show that there were acknowledgement of the increases in the rent?
Yes, Your Honor, she went to market rent as of 4/1/24 to the lease charge of $868. When you go from being on subsidy to market, there is not a regular 5/9.
She said she'd been paying $800 a month since October of 23.
9/30 of 23. Oh, yeah, you're right. October, excuse me.
I show, get into the right one here because we have two different, one's non and one is market. So, and you said since 9/1 of 23?
10/1/23, and I
10-1.
heard from you yesterday.
Let me grab her file.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Horn.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
What can you tell us?
Okay, I pulled out her file and I have a document that she signed on 9/27/24 stating her rent as of November 1st went to $868. The 5/9, I made a copy of her termination and gave that to her yesterday. This goes.
Say that again.
She signed the document on 9/27/24 that stated as of November 1st, 2024, her rent would be $868.
You said something about a termination you gave her yesterday. That's the part
Yes,
I
this
missed.
paper goes with that. It's a 5/9 termination. And it shows on here, it says the TTP exceeds gross rent or market rent. She went to market because both her and her daughter, they were living there at the same time. The two combined incomes did not allow them to get subsidy any longer.
So you served yesterday a termination of tenancy on her?
No, this document was signed by her on 2/29/24. She came into my office and asked for copies of her 5/9s for the last
Okay.
5 times anything happened in her files, and I made copies of those and gave those to her.
All right. Well, so it does appear that your rent is $868 and that you signed an acknowledgement and she gave it to you yesterday. So then you threw this hand grenade in my lap and pulled the pin. But it does appear that the figures are correct. When
Your
we
Honor.
talked last week, you had a plan to try to get caught up. What's your position now?
I had to call, I can't find my W-2s. I had to call my work to get them. And so that's why I haven't been able to do it. And Your Honor, I want you to know that Amber's been out of the home since August. And I was paying market rent from August till November till I turned down a 1-bedroom apartment.
All right. August to November of what year?
August of 2023 or 2024 to November of 2024.
When we
Did you ask for a recertification after Amber moved out?
I did. She said I couldn't because of my income, but I wasn't making enough. And also I was laid off. I had been laid off, and my income was, we were paying market rent because of Amber moving in. Prior to Amber moving in, I was not on market rent.
Well, you're on market rent now, and then you indicated that they offered a one-bedroom apartment, but you didn't want to take it, so you stayed in the two-bedroom?
Yes, and then she said if I deny a one bedroom, I would have to pay market rent. So then, therefore, in November, I denied the market or one bedroom.
All right. All right, the numbers seem to be correct. Mr. Saab, I don't know, I don't think I have a judgment in here.
I'd be happy to send you one within the next 5 minutes.
All right, well then let's discuss the numbers. Through March, rent is $1,286.22.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Court costs are $185 for a total of $1,471.22. Now, if you're paying market rent, Ms. Hooley, you should be eligible for some emergency financial assistance. I would encourage you to contact Neighborhoods, Inc. or Community Action Agency or DHS. Have you done that?
I have the paper that I tried to get help through the state and they denied me.
Which agency?
DHS. I called DHS, I've called Neighborhood Link. They tell me that there's no funding. So I've tried everything. I've tried CHAP, I think it is. Something CHAP.
Well, you're not rolling over. I admire you for trying to see if you can get some assistance. The problem is you're in market rent and it's $898. I see a lot worse. Anybody in a larger community would probably love to have a nice two-bedroom apartment for $898. But for
Right.
our county, it's pretty high. You're back to work at IAC, correct?
Correct.
All right, that alone probably makes you ineligible for any subsidy. They pay $22 an hour or something and some overtime. So yes, you're in market rent and you owe that amount and you owe it within 10 days from today, which would be March 17th, which is a Sunday. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong year. March 17th is a Monday, St. Patrick's Day. Partial payment will not prevent a writ of eviction, and any money damages could be calculated if there's additional rent or there's damage to the property. Let me tell you this, they don't have to evict you on March 17th. They can work out a plan for you to try to get your rent paid. They don't have to ask for a writ of eviction for 56 days. But you know this, there's a waiting list. There's probably people that would love to have this two-bedroom apartment. Fortunately, you're not too terribly far behind. But if you can get your W-2 and get a tax refund, maybe even an advance, you can pay this and get caught up. But you're gonna get a copy of this order called a judgment. I would try Neighborhoods, Inc. or Community Action Agency. I was told Community Action Agency had some money. Their director, Miss Wardell, stopped to see me a month or so ago. Then I've also been told there's not enough affordable housing, to be sure, and there's not enough emergency financial assistance. It does appear that you would be eligible because this isn't subsidized. Mr. Saab, I'd ask you to send me a judgment by email. Let me give you this so you can put it in your library. The Cox firm is so big, I see so many different attorneys. I'd never met Miss Haddad before, and I don't think we met before. The address here is 3B Civil at St. Joseph County, mi.gov.
I'll send that over to you right now.
All right, what's your P number?
P82080.
All right, P stands for professional. All right, a couple things, Ms. Hooley. I would suggest you talk to Ms. Kalmbach about what your plans are. It sounds like you made a good faith payment of $500. That wasn't even sufficient, but it made a dent in it. And if you can either get it paid or work out an agreement to get it paid, you can continue with your tenancy. I say this a lot. It's easier to keep a good tenant in there than move one out and move another one in. But I will send you that as soon as he sends it to me. I'll sign it. All right. Do you have any questions?
So, yeah, how much do I owe them now?
You owe $1,286.22 through March, $185 of cost. That's the filing fee, the service fee, and the attorney fee. The total is $1,471.22.
And I just sent over that judgment.
All right, thank you. They'll bring it into me. All right, we'll be in recess in this matter.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.